Okay, hi again. In the last video I was setting up the SD card from my Pocket game console, but what happened is that I actually received the 3D printed parts of the case that I was designing for that console, and I decided to assemble the console and continue the setup after I've assembled. But before I continue with the software setup, let me show you the model, the 3D model that I created for the case. And this is it. It's in FreeCAD, a free 3D designing program. And let's look at the little bit about the model. So it looks like this. It has a front side and a back side, and actually in the back side you can see a few slots that are useful for connecting. Obviously the console needs power, and I don't have this one battery operated. I will run it using the USB power, so there's a slot for the two USB ports for the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi Zero is inside the case, and then there is a HDMI connector slot right here, and also here on the corner there's a slot for sliding in the SD card, so it goes into the Raspberry Pi SD card slot. There's one more slot here down at the bottom, and that's for exposing the pins of the arcade bonnet, and I could use that later on to connect external joystick or buttons or controls via wire to this console. And on the front side, as you can see, of course, there's the control panel with the PSP style thumbstick here, and 4 push buttons, and that's the control panel part, and above it is the lid for the case where the display is actually attached to. So let me actually turn on and off the outer shell of the case, so it's a little bit easier to see how the components are inside. There we go. So this green one here below is the arcade bonnet for the joysticks and the buttons, and above it is the Raspberry Pi Zero, and they are bridged together using these connectors like so. And above the Raspberry Pi Zero there's display, and it's connected to the lid, and just between the Raspberry Pi Zero and the display there's a small speaker sandwiched, so we can get sound. And the control panel is actually consists of a couple of 3D printed parts which house the push buttons and the joystick. So that's the model, and let me now show the actual case, which I just put together last night. To show it, I'm gonna turn off the display of the monitor so you can see a little bit clearer. And the actual console looks like this when assembled. So you can see that there are the slots behind, and I've covered the arcade bonnet pin slot with tape so I don't get accidental short circuits there. And then there's the slot for the SD card right there. So a little bit different than in the model. I think I have some little bit of error in the some of the space that I was reserving for the components. So I had to actually put the control panel front lid a little bit higher than it was supposed to be. So the case should be a little bit higher there. So I'm probably gonna do another version of the model later on. But this is my Pocket Phat Pocket Arcade console, its sort of first version, assembled, and let me now go back to setting up the game for it.